Let's get one thing straight. If a woman constantly disrespects you, it's not just about her attitude, it's about what you're allowing. Respect isn't something you beg for, it's something you command. And if she keeps crossing the line, you have to ask yourself, are you the kind of man who tolerates disrespect? Or are you the kind of man who sets the tone for how people treat him? Too many men today are stuck in a cycle of tolerating behavior they should never accept. They get talked down to, ignored, belittled, and even mocked in their own relationships. And instead of walking away or setting firm boundaries, they try to fix the situation by being more understanding, more patient, or worse, by chasing blindly. That's the biggest mistake you can make. A woman who truly respects you will never put you in a position where you have to question your worth. She won't test you by constantly undermining you. If she does, it means she sees you as weak, or at least as a man she can push around without consequences. And once she senses weakness, she loses attraction. It's human nature. But here's the hard truth. A woman only disrespects the man she doesn't fear losing. That's the heart of the issue. She knows that no matter how she talks to you, how she treats you, or how much she pushes your buttons, you'll still stick around. That's why she keeps doing it. The moment she realizes that her disrespect comes with consequences, real consequences, is the moment she starts to think twice before opening her mouth recklessly. This video is going to break down exactly what to do when a woman constantly disrespects you. We're not here to sugarcoat anything. We're here to fix the problem. You'll learn how to recognize the different ways disrespect shows up, why it happens, and most importantly, how to stop it, without arguing, without begging, and without losing your masculine edge. Because at the end of the day, a man who allows disrespect is a man who will always struggle for respect. And if you don't stand up for yourself, no one else will. Now, let's get into it. 1. Disrespect continues because you allow it. Disrespect doesn't just happen, it's a pattern you either allow or shut down. When a woman constantly disrespects you, it's because she knows she can get away with it. She has tested the waters, crossed the line, and found out there are no real consequences. That's why it keeps happening. Most men make the mistake of thinking disrespect will stop on its own. They assume if they ignore it or act extra nice, she'll eventually realize she's wrong and change. That never happens. If anything, she disrespects you even more because now she sees you as weak. A woman respects a man who enforces his boundaries. She loses respect for the one who lets things slide. And once respect is gone, attraction isn't far behind. She may still be with you, but deep down, she doesn't see you as a man she has to take seriously. That's why some men feel like they're constantly fighting to prove their worth in a relationship. It's because they never established it in the first place. If she raises her voice at you, insults you, or talks down to you, and you just brush it off or try to calm her down, you're sending a message. This behavior is okay. You can do this again. Instead, you need to make it clear immediately that you won't tolerate it. Not by yelling, not by arguing, but by making it known through your actions. For instance, if she disrespects you in front of others, maybe she makes fun of you, interrupts you, or disregards your opinion, most men would try to play it off, or even laugh along to avoid conflict. That's weak behavior. The right move? Call it out once, directly, and if she does it again, you walk away. Not dramatically, not angrily, just calmly remove yourself. When she sees that her behavior comes with a consequence, your absence, she'll start thinking twice before doing it again. A man who tolerates disrespect will always get more of it. A man who enforces his standards will either be respected or left. But either way, he wins. Because the only thing worse than losing a woman is losing your self-respect. If you let it slide once, you'll be dealing with it forever. 2. Women test weakness, and you're failing. Women don't disrespect strong men, they test them. And if you fail those tests, the disrespect only gets worse. Every time you ignore it, laugh it off, or try to reason with her, she sees it as a sign of weakness. And once she senses weakness, she pushes harder. Men who don't understand this think their woman is just being difficult or emotional. No, she's testing you. She's subconsciously trying to see what kind of man she's dealing with. Does he stand his ground or does he fold? Can she shake his confidence, or is he unbreakable? A woman might start with small tests, challenging your opinions, interrupting you, or making sarcastic remarks. If you brush it off without addressing it, she'll escalate. Soon, she's raising her voice, belittling you or outright disrespecting you in public. And by the time you realize what's happening, it's already too late. She's lost respect for you. Here's what most men do when they fail these tests. They try to be understanding. They explain themselves, seek her approval, or worse, they apologize for things they shouldn't. That's exactly the wrong response. A woman doesn't respect a man who seeks validation. She respects a man who is firm in who he is, one who doesn't need her approval to feel secure. Let's say she questions your decision in front of others, making you look weak. Most men would get defensive or try to justify themselves. A strong man, he simply looks at her, smiles, and says, "That's cute, but I don't explain myself." And then he moves on like nothing happened. No arguing, no overreacting, just quiet, confident control. A woman only tests a man until she realizes he won't break. Once she knows you're unshakable, the tests stop. But if she senses you're unsure of yourself, she'll keep testing and disrespecting until you either step up or she loses all attraction. You don't have to play her games, just stand firm. 3. Stop explaining yourself. It diminishes attraction. One of the biggest mistakes men make when dealing with disrespect is trying to explain themselves. They think if they just make her understand, she'll stop. That if they just find the right words, she'll suddenly respect them. That's not how it works. A woman doesn't disrespect you because she doesn't understand you. She disrespects you because she doesn't respect you. And no amount of explaining is going to fix that. In fact, the more you explain, the weaker you look. Think about it. Who explains themselves the most? People who are unsure? People who feel the need to justify their actions? A confident man doesn't do that. He doesn't waste time proving himself because he knows who he is. And that unshakable certainty is what makes people respect him. But when you start over-explaining, you're telling her, without realizing it, that you need her validation, that her opinion of you matters more than your own. And once she senses that, she loses interest. She might still stay with you, but deep down, she won't see you as a leader. This is why arguing with a woman when she disrespects you is a losing game. She's not looking for a debate. She's testing your frame. And the moment you get emotional and start defending yourself, you've already lost. She's got you playing by her rules, reacting to her, trying to prove yourself. That's weak energy. The truth is, if a woman respects you, she won't even put you in a position where you have to explain yourself. She trusts your judgment. She doesn't question your every move. And if she does it with curiosity, not with disrespect. So the next time she challenges you, remember this. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need her approval. A simple response, a calm demeanor, and the ability to walk away when necessary, that's what commands respect. Men who constantly explain themselves get stuck in a cycle of chasing validation. Men who stand firm in who they are never have to. 4. Walking away is more powerful than arguing. Most men don't get it. They think standing up for themselves means arguing, proving a point, or forcing a woman to see her mistakes. But here's the reality. Arguing with a woman when she disrespects you is one of the weakest things you can do. If you're going back and forth, raising your voice or trying to win, you've already lost. You're showing her that she has control over your emotions, that she can pull you into her chaos whenever she wants. And that's a power move for her, a weak position for you. Men today have been conditioned to believe that they need to talk things out endlessly, that if they just communicate better, the disrespect will stop. Wrong. A woman doesn't disrespect you because of miscommunication. She disrespects you because she doesn't fear losing you. And if you argue with her instead of walking away, you're proving that no matter what she says or does, you're not going anywhere. Wake up. A high-value man doesn't waste time debating his worth. He doesn't stick around trying to make a woman see his value. He knows his value, and he removes himself when it's not being appreciated. That's real strength. Walking away isn't about being dramatic. It's not about punishing her or teaching her a lesson. It's about showing through your actions that you refuse to engage with disrespect, that you don't chase, you replace. Some men are too afraid to walk away because they think they'll lose her. But let's be honest, if you have to argue and fight just to get basic respect, you've already lost her. And more importantly, you've lost yourself. Stop entertaining nonsense. Stop wasting energy on people who don't respect you. If she values you, she'll correct herself. If she doesn't, she was never meant for you. Either way, you win. 5. She only respects what she fears. Losing. A woman's respect isn't based on words, promises, or even how much she likes you. It's based on what she feels she could lose. If she knows deep down that no matter what she says or does, you'll still be there, still chasing, still tolerating, then why would she respect you? She has no reason to. Men make the mistake of thinking that love automatically means respect. It doesn't. A woman can love you and still lose respect for you if she sees that you have no backbone. And once that respect is gone, the love changes too. It turns into something different, something weaker. She might still care about you, but she won't look at you the same way. This is where most men go wrong. They think that being available, being patient, or proving their loyalty will make a woman respect them more. In reality, it does the opposite. A woman respects a man who doesn't need her. A man who stays because he chooses to, not because he's afraid to lose her. And let's be honest, women can feel it. They can sense when a man is terrified of losing them. They see it in how he reacts, how he accommodates, how he tiptoes around conflict just to keep the peace. And when she senses that, she stops seeing him as a man she needs to keep. Because why fight for something that's already guaranteed? Respect comes from knowing that you are the prize, that you can walk away at any moment if your standards aren't met, that your time, attention, and presence must be earned. When a woman knows that losing you is a real possibility, that's when she values you. That's when she respects you. The harsh truth? A woman doesn't respect a man who is too available. She respects a man who is selective, a man whose presence is a privilege, not a guarantee. 6. Being too nice is your biggest mistake. Men are taught from a young age that being nice is the key to winning a woman's heart. That if you just treat her well, show her you care, and always put her first, she'll appreciate you. But in the real world, that's not how it works. Women don't respect men who are too nice. They respect men who are strong. And strength doesn't mean being rude or aggressive. It means having boundaries, standing up for yourself, and not letting a woman walk all over you just because you like her. When you're too nice, you give off the energy of a man who needs validation, a man who's trying to prove his worth instead of simply knowing it. And that's exactly why women lose interest in guys who are overly accommodating. There's no challenge, no mystery, no backbone. Just a man who's willing to do anything to keep her happy, even at the cost of his own self-respect. Let's be real, women test men. They push buttons, they create drama, they see how much they can get away with. Not because they're bad people, but because they want to feel something. And when a man bends over backwards to please them no matter what, there's nothing left to test. He's already given up his power, the worst part. Nice guys think they're doing everything right. They think they're better than the men who don't chase, the men who set boundaries, the men who demand respect. But in reality, those are the men women admire the most. Because a man who isn't afraid to say no is a man who respects himself. Being kind is one thing, being weak is another. Women don't run from kindness. They run from predictability, from neediness, from men who have no spine. The truth? The more you try to please her, the less she values you. But the moment you stop needing her approval, that's when she starts chasing you. 7. You teach her how to treat you. Men love to complain about how women treat them, but the truth is, most of the time, you are the one who taught her that it was okay. If she disrespects you, talks down to you, or ignores your boundaries, it's because at some point, you let it slide. And now, she sees it as normal. Women don't just randomly start disrespecting men. It's a process. It starts small. Maybe she interrupts you, ignores your opinions, or tests your patience. And if you don't check it immediately, it escalates. Before you know it, you're in a relationship where she controls the tone, makes the rules, and you're just trying to keep up. Wake up. You don't get respect by asking for it. You get it by setting the standard from the very beginning. The way you carry yourself, the way you respond to disrespect, the way you don't tolerate nonsense, that's what determines how a woman treats you. But most men get it backward. They think if they just stay patient, explain themselves, or try harder, she'll suddenly realize she's wrong and start respecting them. That never happens. In fact, the more you tolerate, the worse it gets. Here's the harsh truth. Every time you ignore disrespect, every time you let things slide, you're teaching her that she can treat you that way. And once that pattern is set, it's hard to break. A woman mirrors the man she's with. If you carry yourself like someone who demands respect, she'll give it. If you act like a man who will put up with anything just to keep her, she'll take advantage of it. Consciously or not, it's not about controlling her, it's about controlling yourself. If you don't respect yourself enough to walk away from disrespect, why would she respect you? If you let her talk to you any kind of way, why would she stop? Stop waiting for her to change. You set the tone, or you deal with the consequences. 8. Respect is earned, not begged. For a man who begs for respect will never get it. Yet, too many men sit around hoping a woman will realize she's treating them poorly and suddenly change. That's not how it works. Respect isn't something you ask for. It's something you command through your actions. A woman doesn't respect you because you tell her to. She respects you because of the way you carry yourself, because of the way you react to disrespect, because she knows, without you saying a word, that there are consequences for crossing certain lines. But most men don't enforce those consequences. They tolerate, they endure, they explain, they negotiate. And every time they do, they lose a little more respect. Because here's the truth. When a woman knows you need her, she stops valuing you. And a man who's constantly seeking validation, constantly proving himself, constantly trying to fix a woman's behavior, that's a man who has already lost the battle. Stop begging for what should already be there. If a woman doesn't respect you, the solution isn't to convince her. It's to show her through your actions that you won't tolerate it. And if that means walking away, so be it. The problem is, too many men are afraid to walk away. They are afraid of losing her, afraid of being alone, afraid that if they demand respect, she'll leave. But let's be honest. If she only stays with you because you tolerate her bad behavior, what are you really holding on to? A woman who respects you won't need to be begged, convinced, or reminded. She'll show it because she values you. This is where men need to wake up. The longer you accept disrespect, the more you train her to see you as a man who deserves to be disrespected. And once you're in that position, it's almost impossible to come back from. The solution? You stop chasing, stop explaining, stop tolerating. You set the standard once, and if she can't meet it, you remove yourself. No arguments, no back and forth, just a simple decision. Either she respects you, or she loses access to you. Respect isn't given to men who ask for it. It's given to men who expect it. And if you don't hold yourself to that standard, no woman ever will. Let's get one thing straight. If a woman constantly disrespects you, it's your fault, not hers, yours. Because you allowed it, because you let things slide, because you didn't walk away when you should have. A woman will only treat you as poorly as you let her. That's the cold truth most men don't want to hear. It's easier to blame women, to say modern women are just like that. But that's not the full story. Women don't naturally disrespect strong men. They test, they push, they challenge. But the men who command respect, they don't have to fight for it. It's given. So the real question isn't about her. It's about you. Are you the type of man who demands respect? Or are you the type of man who hopes for it? Because if you have to ask a woman to respect you, you've already lost. I want to hear from you. Have you ever dealt with a woman who constantly disrespected you? What did you do about it? Drop your experience in the comments and I'll be reading and responding. Let's make this a real conversation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.